Just a minute. The presiding officer is conscious of the rights of the respondent and the role of the prosecution as well as the defense in this case. And I can assure you that I've been following that norm. But we will take this up in caucus.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The chief of the panel of prosecutors from the House.
Yes, Mr. President, may we just make a counter manifestation on the matter? There's a saying in English which says that if ain't broke, don't fix it. Kung wala naman diferensya o sira, huwag mo nang kukumpunihin. The rules as they stand now are perfect, Mr. President, because by presidents, we have been doing this in the 11th Congress in the hearing of the case, in the impeachment case of President Estrada, these same rules applied. And even in the U.S. Senate, Mr. President, this same rule is found in the rules of the U.S. Senate, that senators sitting in impeachment can ask questions from witnesses and from counsels. The only difference is that in the U.S. Senate, the questions are written and submitted to the President, Mr. President. But they are certainly allowed to ask questions. And on the part of the House, we have been maintaining, Mr. President, that an impeachment case is an administrative case, where the only issue is whether the public officer still enjoys public trust in order that he can still continue to hold office.
If I remember what I read correctly, counsel, in the case of in case of impeachment, the role of the House of Representatives is that of a grand jury. You are supposed to have prepared the evidence beforehand. In fact, your powers to gather the evidence beforehand is plenary. It's in fact inquisitorial in nature. And that is why we have a problem in the course of this trial, because we are using compulsory process to gather evidence for you.
Yes.
But you should have gathered beforehand before you filed the impeachment, articles of impeachment in this court. And that's why I warned you several times that what you're doing might be fatal to the proceedings. You read American precedents in impeachment cases. The function of the House is like that of a grand jury. I have it researched. And in a grand jury proceedings, it is almost an inquisition. There's no adversarial proceeding. You can subpoena any record from any sector, but you are called upon to keep these subpoenaed records absolutely confidential, not exposed to the public as what is being done in this proceeding. You should have read those materials before you instituted these articles of impeachment. But anyway, we are already at this point. It's too late to backtrack, but it's a lesson that we have to. We have to.
Just 1 minute, Mr. President, on this matter.
Before that, Mr. President.
No, I suggest that let the chief of the prosecution panel.
I submit, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are three modes of initiating impeachment complaint, Mr. President. If indeed it passes through the Committee on Justice, then we could have been afforded all this time to exercise the powers akin to a grand jury. But, Mr. President, there is a third mode which is specifically granted by the Constitution, where in case the verified complaint or resolution of impeachment is filed by at least 1/3 of all the members of the House, it shall be sent immediately to the Senate because, Mr. President, yung impeachment po kasi emergency power po ito ng mamamayan. Halimbawa po, kung yung Pangulo ng Bansa o yung punong maestrado po sa tingin ng isa bawat 3 miyembro ng Kamara po ay talagang dapat panagutin kaagad-agad. Hindi na po dadaan doon sa grand jury style, kundi idudulog na po kaagad dito at maglilitis na po kaagad tayo dito dahil kung emergency nga po, baka masira po lalo yung opisina kung dadaan po doon sa proseso.
Tama po yun, pero ibig ba ninyong sabihin na kahit na 1/3 ng House of Representatives ang pumirma, ay pupulutin ninyo sa hangin yung ilalagay ninyo sa articles of impeachment na wala kayong batayan?
Di naman po, dahil katulad nga po nito, meron naman po silang ginawang mga artikulo of impeachment na may mga nakalahad naman po doon kung ano yung mga reklamo at nahimay-himay po naman.
Alam mo, kaya magulo yung inyong articles of impeachment. Kaya nga nahihirapan kami na kung saan namin papasyahan yung mga ebidensya na ipinapasok ninyo. Kaya na sa Article 2 lamang, nagkaroon tayo na ng problema. Pagdating natin sa Article 4, Article 5, Article 7, Article 6, Article 7, halo-halo yung aligasyon ninyo. Eh, pag binuksan ninyo yan, makikita natin ang kamalian eh. Oh. Anyway, we proceed.
Yes, Mr.
And we take
President.
advisement on this matter.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
President.
Mr. President, as the chairman of the Committee on Rules, first, I would like to thank the prosecution for saying that the rules are perfect. But nevertheless, the prohibition to object is not found in the rules of the Senate, indeed, but it is found in the practice in courts, wherein you cannot object to the question of a judge. But be that as it may we recognize Senator Angara and then Senator Joker Arroyo, Mr. President, so that they may amplify this position of the Rules Committee.
The issue is